Hello again, everyone. Edwin Learnard back once again. In this YouTube astrological segment, I'm going to be dissertating and talking about having no planets in the third house in a natal horoscope. Now, first thing to clear up any misconceptions that someone might have or misperceptions or what have you, that having an empty third house certainly is not going to mean that the person will not have siblings, will not have communication in their life, will not have interaction in their general neighborhood, in their community. Doesn't mean they're not going to have an early education. I mean, if this happens to the person, I could assure you it's not going to be because of an empty third house. A lot of people are going to have empty third houses in their natal chart because everybody, for one thing, is going to have at least 2 empty houses, and most people will have at least 4 empty houses in their natal chart. So really, at least 4 anyway. So somebody that has an empty third house, it's possible they might feel some unfulfillment in this area, or they might just have a very nonchalant and carefree attitude regarding matters pertaining to the third house. This could be a person that's not always concerned about bringing their mobile phone with them. It might be somebody that maybe is not always in a hurry to have interaction, whether it's as far as communicating, whether it's online or what have you, but it doesn't mean that there's not going to be any communication in the person's life. Everybody is going to have a sign on the cusp of the third house, and they're going to have that ruler of the third house posited in another house. Now, let's say somebody was to have Aquarius on the cusp of the third house. This could indicate somebody with a plethora of innovative ideas, somebody that might have new ways of communicating, might come up with really extemporaneous ideas on the spot pretty much, and somebody that has maybe someone that likes to talk about things connected with computers, electronics, esoteric subjects, innovations, modern technology. This is somebody that might talk about things connected with reforming now, and humanitarian interests perhaps. So that is one thing to consider. You look at the sign that is on the cusp of that third house. Also look and see what house the ruler of the third house is. So if somebody had Aquarius on the cusp of the third house, and let's say they had the ruler Uranus in the 6th house, they would have the ruler of the 3rd and the 6th, and this could indicate that the person may like to talk about things pertaining to 6th house matters, such as health, pets like small animals, things connected with fitness, their work, their employment. They might talk about some things, their illnesses. If they have any debilitations, they may like to communicate about that to others. Now, it's really another thing that people have to remember too is if somebody has a vacant third house, it's that there's going to be transits to that house. Now, let's say somebody had Saturn traversing the third house. Now, this could be somebody during that period that might put a lot of discipline and seriousness into communications. At the same time, this could maybe restrict certain communications. And let's say somebody had Jupiter transiting the third house at some point in their life. Now, this could indicate maybe a lot of exuberant communications, and Jupiter is the expansion planet, and this could very likely enlarge matters connected with communication, things pertaining to brothers and sisters. If the person is still, say, in high school at that time, or in grade school, then maybe this person might put even more of an emphasis on assimilating knowledge connected with whatever school they may be in at that particular time. There might be more of a need for communication in general. So, and also in progressed charts, you can look at, see if there's, at some point in time, majority of people, if they have an empty or vacant third house, they'll have planets that will be in the third house in the progressed chart. So that's something also that the person can look at. Also, you could look at the aspects to the ruler of the third house, and if the ruler of the third house has predominantly good aspects, well, this could show that the communication can be very auspicious for this person. Things of a mental nature can be very positive. A lot of aspects in general could indicate a lot of activity connected with matters connected with communications and short journeys, things in their neighborhood. Now, another thing to look at is Mercury. If Mercury has a lot of aspects, this will show a lot of activity, often in communication. So really what it comes down to is an empty third house often is just indicates that this person may not be expending a lot of their energy into this sector of their life, and it's also not being flavored by a planet. Really are really important things to consider when looking at an empty third house in a person's natal chart. Well, anyway, people, that'll conclude this YouTube astrological segment for an empty third house in a natal chart, and stay tuned next time where I'll be dissertating and talking about having an empty fourth house in a natal chart. Two things I want to get with you on before I head out. Firstly, the stars may impel, but do not compel. And secondly, never isolate any single astrological element, aspect, planetary placement, position, configuration, influence, or what have you, and make an analysis of a person, astrologically speaking, based on this alone. Because a person, astrologically, is the sum of all their components in their natal chart, and not just one. Until next time, people, stay well.